In the heating and cooling system, cooling-based offenses are considered especially heinous. In Katy, Texas, the dedicated HVAC contractor who investigates these improperly cooled structures is the creator of an elite AC service squad known as the Sweaty Victims Unit. These are his stories.
So in this video, you'll see that I repair a Ruud, some people call it Ruud, AC system. This system was about 7 years old. So there's a furnace repair in here, and then also no pumper. You'll find out what a no pumper means. So stay tuned. This is a unique story and where I repair a Ruud, however you want to pronounce it, air conditioning repair. You don't want to miss it. Stay tuned.
The home of better. Welcome home.
So how I obtained this customer was due to a furnace repair sometime in either late 2021, early 2022. I was called to this house for no heat. It's fairly rare because our heating season is pretty much non-existent, usually anywhere from a couple weeks to a month maybe of running the furnace. And then eventually switching back over to AC. But this is how I initially got this customer. These particular pieces are what's known as a safety rollout switch, to where if flame rolls out, it's going to pop that switch open and shut the gas off, so your house doesn't burn down. So it's important that you doing stuff like this, that you do it properly. This is showing the Ruud Furnace. And this is showing the manufacturing date. If you look up, you see a manufacture date of October 2015. And here I am showing the last little button switch. I've already replaced them and got them in there. I'm just getting ready to wire it up. I don't actually show the furnace running because this seems to me this system was installed in a closet, and so I think the homeowner may have interrupted me, and so maybe had questions for me or something, and so I didn't get any footage of firing off. And so next up is the AC repair that came later. So this is the AC service call. You'll see here the manufacturer date was 05 of 2015. So it puts it roughly at about 7 years old as of the time of this service. 7 years in this industry is considered a young unit, typically. National average is about 15 years, so anytime you have a catastrophic failure, and I show why this failed here, is you can see right here the refrigerant pressures are equal, meaning, something, it essentially signifies the compressor isn't running. But in all reality, I prove to you that the compressor is running because I hooked my meter to it and it shows it's drawing 13.61 amps.
Going 13.6 amps. And it is doing nothing. The pressures are gone.
So what is a no pumper compressor? It's essentially a compressor that is running, but it doesn't have the ability to pump refrigerant. A compressor doesn't pump liquid refrigerant. It is a vapor pump. If you try to pump liquid refrigerant, it's going to slug the compressor. And that can likely lead to the problem of what this system had. The compressor is the black big thing down inside at the bottom of your unit. If you have your unit shut off, the fan's not blowing, you can look down in there. Now, some manufacturers will have these covered with a blanket of some kind. Sometimes they'll have them put in a cover or something to keep the noise down. So in some instances, you won't be able to see the compressor. But essentially, you have to have a compressor in your unit, otherwise it wouldn't work. So as you can imagine, hot climate problems, these kind of things often go wrong in the dead heat of summer. I believe the temperature outside when this occurred was around 95, 100 degrees daily. This particular job had this problem happen close to the weekend. And so we were having trouble getting equipment in. And so this customer chose what was going to be available the quickest. So then they wouldn't have to take off work. They wouldn't have to redesign their life around this issue. I'd be able to get them back up online as quick as possible. So, if you want to take your cooling solution to the next level and you want to call the shots, you got to replace your machine before it breaks, because if all you got is one machine, then essentially you're going to only be able to get what's available. So due to the timing in which all this occurred, the issue of trying to get this unit back online as quickly as possible for this customer decided to go with a Goodman unit. And obviously, there were issues getting certain kinds of equipment, and I think the next best scenario would have been probably maybe a week out. We were hitting temps of 95, 100 degrees during this time, so he chose what he chose because of speed and getting it reinstalled. So here I show the condenser is back online and operational. In terms of equipment scarcity for 2023, things seem to be getting better, but timing is always an issue, so it just really depends.
Short notice on a Saturday. Rock and roll, boss. Rock and roll. Problem averted. I mean, that is super duper quiet. I'm just talking in my normal voice. It's running at about 33, 32, 31. That's hertz. ramping up and down. You can see it ramping. I'm getting ready to charge it though, but I haven't tricked it in there yet to charge it. Just wanted to see it run without doing anything.
So now that you've seen this unit in operation, I need to dispel or lay down some context rules. I was an early adopter of Bosch inverter when it came to my market in 2019. Prior to that, at my current house, I had in 2018, I had a 14 SEER normal single one-speed machine, as you see on the chart in orange. 2019 I don't include because there was time there where I was installing the unit, and so I wanted it to be as concise as possible. And so a couple of things to understand that changed from 2018 to 2020 is that the Bosch unit that I installed at my house, while it is an inverter, it's not as efficient as what is currently available in the Katy, Texas market. So the current units are rated at 20 SEER. Now, we've had some changes as of 2023 where the SEER rating has gone from SEER to SEER 2. So SEER 2 for Bosch will probably be somewhere around 19 SEER, but that is under a new calculation. It's still essentially 20 SEER as the old SEER rating. And so to try to, not confuse you or try to keep you, to where you understand what's going on here, I'm just going to use the 20 SEER nomenclature. Just realize that the SEER to SEER 2, it's essentially the same thing. The only difference is that the number for SEER 2 is going to be slightly lower than the old SEER rating, when comparing. So the other elephant in the room is how long you're going to use this appliance. You got to realize when you're talking savings, the more you use something, the more you'll save. The more you're paying for utilities or, the expense of operation, the more you use it, the more you save. So for my climate, typically we use our air conditioners upwards of 10 months of the year. Now, 9 months are typically more pronounced. So I only include 9 months. That other month is sometime a mixture in between the other 2-3 months that I'm not showing here. So the other thing is the cost of electricity. The higher the cost, and we've seen utility increases of probably somewhere around the 50% mark. So, what we were paying back in 2018 is completely different from what we're paying today. And that's going to affect you in a number of ways. How many HVAC systems you have, whether you have a pool, things of that nature. So, if you've got more than one HVAC system, what I show here is savings. You got to understand that I only have one HVAC system. I don't have a pool. There's no solar use going on here. And solar is complicated. So, if you decide to go that route, then, the Bosch inverter may be for you. It may not be for you. I'm just trying to dispel the complexities based on, the information that I'm trying to portray to you and portray it as honestly as I can without trying to sell you something for the sake of selling it to you. So you understand where we're going here. So the next thing we need to explain away is what is a traditionally normal hot summer versus record heat. So 2022 was a record heat year. And to understand this, if you're trying to achieve the same cooling that you would normally have under a normal hot summer, you're going to the way the Bosch works is it will ramp when it's hotter outside. And so the more it ramps, the more energy you're going to use. But you're going to see that even though it was record heat in 2022, I still used far less energy. You look down toward the bottom, the totals listed all the way across. I used far less energy than what I did in 2018 for a traditional single speed AC unit under normal heat type summer. That's important to note because, temperatures fluctuate and things happen. So keep that in mind. So to summarize, the cost of electricity, if you have high rates, plus you're using the appliance a lot, the more energy efficient that appliance is, the more you're going to save, the greater the rates go. And so that's why I've broken this chart down into kilowatt hour use. My own personal use is what you see on this chart for 2022, 2021, 2020, and 2018. And the inverter was in use since late 2019, which is why I don't include 2019. So the other benefit of the inverter is that it's going to run longer. Because of the way it operates, it steps up and down in 1% increments. So it's going to run longer than what a traditional air conditioning system will run. And the benefit or the effect of that is better dehumidification. Now, too many people get caught up in the dehumidification aspects of an air conditioner and think somehow that now it should control dehumidification, which that is not the case. In my opinion, an air conditioner will never control dehumidification the way it is currently set up. You've got to understand first how a dehumidifier works. A dehumidifier is essentially another air conditioning system within your house that is designed to operate based on humidity readings. An air conditioner is designed to operate via temperature. Temperature and the relative humidity are completely separate and independent things. Therefore, you will not control dehumidification via an air conditioner. There's two separate things, and the cons with using a dehumidifier is now you're going to increase your expenses because now you've got another appliance that is going to run and draw utilities. So it defeats. If you're trying to save energy, trying to save money, a dehumidifier will give you the control you want, but at higher cost. So you've got to weigh the pros and the cons here. I spell it out to help you make a decision. It doesn't matter to me if you want to spend the money on a dehumidifier. I'm not going to stop you, but I'm not going to provide that for nothing. It costs money to do that. And then you're going to pay for utility expense on top of that. So on this particular chart, I'm going to show you my savings. Just realize that 2018 is the high. So, we're taking that and we're subtracting it versus all these other year use based on the rates of kilowatt hours. If you want to refer back to that previous chart, I'm taking that rates per kilowatt hour for each segment and multiplying it times the use to show you what I would pay versus, whatever kilowatt hour you're using. Currently, I'm somewhere on that third tier down at 15 and a half, so usually somewhere around 15 cents, 15 and a half cents per kilowatt hour. And this is to highlight that your utility rates are going to fluctuate. And so you understand that the higher the rate goes, the more you could potentially save. Because I wasn't saving next to nothing back when the rates were 9-10 cents a kilowatt hour. I wasn't saving as much. So you got to take that into consideration as well. Now, the national average for AC equipment life is 15 years. That isn't a fixed rate, just that's an average. So you understand that. So the other thing to make a note of is that your numbers could actually be even better than what I show here. You got to understand that 2018, I had a 14-seater air conditioner. Your system may not be quite that efficient. I would say that if your system is somewhere around 10 years old, then most likely it's probably a 14 SEER. But until it's inspected and determined to be that, your savings could actually be better than what I show here. And so the other thing to come into play here is cost of repairs. I don't break those down. You're going to have repairs regardless whether you choose an inverter or not. Typically, if you're someone who runs the air conditioner more sparingly, say you set the indoor temperature at 78, 80 degrees for my climate, then an inverter may not be for you because you're not using the machine that much. So you've got to put all this into context for what comfort means to you. This is an option at the end of the day. It's, is it for everybody? No, because you're going to pay money for this type of setup. It's more expensive, but the basis is that within just a few years' time of saving energy, you're basically looking at about the same cost for a lesser system. So keep that in mind as well. If you are a homeowner and you've watched this far, this video may have left you somewhat confused. This channel is primarily dedicated toward helping you make decisions. It's not anything concrete. It's best if you call me and have me inspect your system and give you options. That is your best way forward, because I don't cover everything in this video. If I was to cover every aspect, every scenario, this video would probably be over an hour long. So you got to take into further ramifications of this. The HVAC market is changing. Within the next couple of years, things are going to change again. It's not going to stop there. Another 10 to 15 years beyond that, we're going to have more changes. So just realize that climate plays an integral role. It's in your best interest to use someone that services the market in which you live. Thanks for watching.
So if you live in the Katy, Texas area, you can give me a call at 832-475-6895. Or for more information, you can always visit me on my main website at www.austinairco.com. For Austin Air Company, my name's Ray Austin, and I hope your day is comfortable. Thank you.
Did you drink water from any source after 2025? Or your AC unit mysteriously catch fire? Do not sign anything. Do not settle with what the insurance company is going to pay you. Tell them you mean business. Hire a knowledgeable law firm that has your interests at heart and that will get you justice. Don't sign anything. Don't settle for what the insurance company is going to pay you. Call a knowledgeable law firm that will fight and win you justice. Get everything, get all the money that you deserve. Call Burns and Heckler at 1-800-WIN-LOSE. Do it now. This is not a lawsuit against your HVAC contractor. Call Burns and Heckler at 1-800-WIN-LOSE. Do it now. Right now.